The ERi-TV news broadcast crew and I, Delit Sahai, are now ready for your daily news briefing at 10:30 local time. But first, let us catch up with the major headlines. Workshop on implementation of Convention of Safeguarding Intangible Cultural Heritage. Calls for organized support of fistula patients held in Mendefara subzone. NATO allies announced 37 billion euros for a new missile project. And Trump says he ordered cutting of all trade with Spain. Proceeding with our reports. A workshop aimed at the implementation of 2003 Convention of the Safeguarding of Intangible Cultural Heritage, as well as preparation of nomination files, was organized in Asmara on 6th and 7th July. The workshop was organized in collaboration with the Commission of Culture and Sports, the UNESCO Office for Eastern Africa, and the Government of Japan. The workshop was attended by experts and representatives of culture from the region, the National Museum, researchers of intangible heritage, as well as members of Commission of Culture and Sports. At the workshop briefings supported by practical examples were provided, focusing on the basic concepts of principles of 2003 Convention of Safeguarding of Intangible Heritage, Eritrea's experience in the research, documentation, and safeguarding of intangible heritage, identifying documenting heritage that needs urgent safeguarding measures, the preparation of nomination files for inception of UNESCO, as well as practitioner of the social in the effort. Underlining that preservation and transfer of intangible heritage in the Eritrean people, beyond its historical significance, had significant role in bringing about national independence and the nation-building process. Ambassador Zamed Takhle, Commissioner of Culture and Sports, said that strong efforts are being exerted to properly study and document intangible heritage and transfer it to the generation. Mr. Hideaki Matsuo, Ambassador of Japan in Eritrea, indicated that richness and diversity of Eritrea's cultural heritage expressed his country's readiness to support efforts in that regard. A workshop was moderated by Ms. Judith Ogana, representative of UNESCO Office in Eritrean Office and Eastern Africa, and Dr. Lavomir Zimbabwe, and 2003 Convention expert. Ms. Nahala Valchi, UN Representative Coordinator in Eritrea, commending Eritrea's effort in the documentation and transfer of cultural heritage, expressed UNESCO's readiness to extend the necessary support in training, experience sharing, and practical investment in the sector. Since Eritrea signed 2003 Convention of the Safeguarding of Intangible Heritage in 2011, various training programs has been organized. Over 50 intangible heritage elements have been included in the national documents. And the country has participated in various forums of convention. Health professionals indicating that significance of roles in visiting and supporting fistula patients at the Fistula Treatment Center in Mendefara plays in boosting their moral and recovery, and called for such initiative to be conducted in organized manner. At the program organized at the National Union of Eritrean Women Board in the Amhara subzone to visit and support fistula patients on 7th July, Dr. Abraham Emmanuel, a maternity expert at the center, explained the cause and treatment of fistula, noting that the condition has physical, economic, and social impacts, and called for increased public participation to prevent it. Dr. Abraham also said that Ministry of Health is playing its part for performing surgery in organized academic and vocational trainings with a view to providing physical and psychological support to the victims. Dr. Habte Haile Melekot, a gynecology and maternity expert, noted that due to limited awareness and negligence, some pregnant women delivered at home and as a result become exposed to various health complications, including fistula. He also called on pregnant women to seek pre- and postnatal treatment and give birth at health facilities. Commending the support being provided to fistula patients, Ms. Nigisti Abraha, head of the National Union of Eritrean Women Branch in the Amhara subzone, and Ms. Sara Sium, Secretary of Board of the National Branch, handed over sanitary materials worth 100,000 nakfa. Noting that it's easier to control the prevalence of fistula that has treated it, Dr. Emmanuel Mehrtab, head of the Ministry of Health branch in the southern region, called on partners institutions to strengthen participation in the efforts to eradicate the harmful practices. The beneficiaries, for their part, commended the health treatment they are receiving from the center, as well as support extended by members of the National Union of Eritrean Women branch in the Amhara subzone. Straight ahead is our international news after a short break. Welcome back. 12 countries, including UK, are set to spend more than $50 billion over the next 10 years in a new long-range missile to protect Europe. The Deep Precision Strike project that has been unveiled by Number 10 and is due to be discussed later on Wednesday at NATO summit in Turkish capital Ankara. Sir Keir Starmer is there for the final NATO summit as Prime Minister. He's likely to face some criticism from the US President Donald Trump for failing to set out a plan for reaching 3.5% of GDP spent on defense by 2035, a target agreed by nearly all NATO members last year. But on Wednesday, the Prime Minister will convene around a dozen leaders to discuss the new missile program. Trump has repeatedly made clear he wants NATO members to contribute more to defense spending in Europe, and at least last year, NATO summit members of the alliance agreed to spend 5% of GDP on defense and security by 2035. The UK government has already committed €300 billion by 2030 in a defense investment plan. On our last report, US President Donald Trump said on Wednesday at a NATO summit he ordered his Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, to cut off all trade with Spain, calling Madrid a terrible partner in the alliance. Trump, speaking alongside NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte at the start of the summit in Ankara, said that he wanted no business with Spain. Trump has repeatedly expressed frustration with Spain, which has not agreed to NATO's new defense spending target of 5% of GDP and whose specialist leadership refused to let the US use its airspace or base on its territory for Iran war. The United States has two important military bases in Spain, Naval Station Roto and Muron Air Base. Dear viewers, we've come to the end of tonight's news. Let's have a recap of the headlines. Workshop on implementation of Convention of Safeguarding Intangible Cultural Heritage. Call for organized support of fistula patients in Mandafera subzone. NATO allies announced €37 billion for a new missile project. Trump says he ordered cutting of all trade with Spain. And that was the news from ERi-TV studios. This has been Litza reporting. Thanks for watching and have a good night.